Hi, everyone. I'm Ethan,
And I'm Pete.
and welcome to Films and Stuff. We are today at episode 001, and we have a list of several topics to dive into before we get to the main event, which is a review of recent technology. But I think we wanted to start with today, Pete, talking about the new Ghostbusters remake, which I just saw has been released in some places worldwide.
Great.
Talk a little bit about the Eternals, which you have seen.
I haven't.
And I have not seen.
But I know a little
you
bit
have
about
not
it.
seen it either.
I haven't seen it either. And I'll tell you why I haven't seen it.
Do you want to tell me why now?
I would do, but let me just start off by first of all saying I think it's incredibly ambitious of you to start off by saying episode 001, thereby implying we're going to go through 999 episodes of this podcast.
Do you think I should add another zero?
I think, yeah. I think let's keep it to at least another zero. I think we get to 1,000 easy or 9,000 easy.
Okay.
All right, so let's talk about the Eternals.
Let's go with the Eternals. So neither one of us have seen it. We're both, I think it's fair to say we're both big MCU fans. I think you're probably at a higher level than I am, but probably we're both higher than average invested in the MCU, universe, maybe a metaverse now. And Eternals is something that we've kind of been looking at from afar, and now it's finally here, but neither of us have rushed out to see it, kind of at the midnight 1 a.m. showing, but yet we've both kind of committed to doing so.
Yeah, that's right. So I think the Eternals is interesting. I never read any of the comics, and I used to read a lot of the Marvel comics when I was a kid. I think the Eternals is proving to be more interesting. It was one of the first major Marvel movies to be hit by the pandemic. So even though it was made like 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, it wasn't released, or it was delayed in release. Of course, the director, Zhao, she in the meantime won an Academy Award for Nomad with Frances McDormand or whatever her name is.
Yeah. I think it was Nomadland.
Maybe. I can't remember. It's a movie about the RVs and living in RVs across America. And so I think a lot of people are going to have like this expectation that this is going to be this ridiculously critically acclaimed good movie. But people have to remember that she filmed this movie before she got her Academy Award.
So what else did she direct before she directed this?
No idea. I'd actually never heard of this lady until she actually won her award. And then I remember that she got heavily criticized in China because she had made some comments that were anti-China, and that resulted in Nomadland not even being recognized, even though she was the first Chinese director, or at least the first woman Chinese director to win a Best Director award at the Oscars, which begs the question, what's going to happen to the Eternals in China? And I'm willing to bet not many good things.
I don't know if bad things are going to happen to it because of that political issue, or just because the entire premise to me is a little bit curious. Let me tell you what I know about the movie. I mean, neither one of us have seen it, so I guess there's no spoilers. This is what I know about the movie. It is part of the MCU universe, or I guess I would say MC universe. There's no reason for two U's. It's part of the MC universe, but it isn't naturally linked to, all the Avengers folks that we usually, have come to know about and love so much. It's kind of like a side story, but they're still going to somehow acknowledge, the end game in it, but that doesn't play a prominent part. And apparently it's a group of people who are superhumans or aliens, and they're somehow the not Guardians of the Galaxy, the Guardians of Earth. So, I mean, that's kind of how I know it. And I understand, just very generally, that there's a lot of, let's say, fatigue or skepticism about why there needs to be so many people. I mean, it's hard. If you're doing a television series with multiple episodes, it's easy to know, 10 to 12 characters. I don't know how many characters there are. Are there 8? 12? How many?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 10.
I think there are 10 actually. I'm not sure, but I think there are 10 overall.
It's a lot of people to know.
I think.
I mean, even when you think about like some of the series that
in one movie.
I mean, if you think about like Mad Men, for example, how many characters do we really get to know over the course of like 5 or 6 seasons, right? I mean, it's hard to really know 10 people, especially in, 2.5 hours. So I think that's very ambitious. And I also understood that a lot of the characters are just kind of added so that it's fully representative of, kind of a modern demographic, right? There's the man, the lady, the child. We know about the issues, at least in the Middle East, about, having, I guess, a gay couple or a scene that's created some issues there. So I mean, that's my general understanding. I still want to see it because just like anything in MCU, I mean, it's of interest to me. But I mean, from what I understand to the backstory and the overall like cast, it seems like it's something that's kind of being forced upon me and not something that I'm really compelled to see this super interesting story that I've been waiting for.
Yeah. So the brief background or the brief understanding I have of it is that these aliens were sent to Earth, maybe, I don't know, 10,000 years ago, and have been living on Earth as they've been planted on Earth. Let's put it that way, almost like espionage style, like sleeper agents, let's say. And supposedly they were sent on Earth to fight against a second race of bad guys called deviants or something, mutants, no, deviants. And so the idea was that these guys were supposed to lie in wait and eliminate all these bad guys. And maybe that's not what actually happens, or maybe the bad guys aren't actually as bad as everyone thinks they are. The typical pseudo plot twist that everyone tries to put in their movies. The cast looks interesting. I like a few of the actors. I don't know a lot of the other actors. As you rightly said, it's a lot of characters to get through in a 2-hour movie. How do you end up liking or loving any or all of them? Do you end up loving or liking any of or all of them? It's made a lot of money. Having said that, I think just yesterday it crossed $300 million in global box office. So it's not a flop by box office or in any means. But considering your average Marvel movie has made $1 billion, it's kind of bad, at least for one that's been released in the cinema.
So tell me your perspective on casting. I mean, if you're a Hollywood actor, for whether you're A-level, A-list, or B-list, and someone comes to you and says, hey, I want you to be in this movie, you're going to be one of 10. We know Angelina Jolie's in it, and obviously she's always going to be the headliner, right? But then it's kind of 9 other folks that you and I, as film buffs, recognize to kind of varying degrees, right? From some folks, we can say, I'm not sure what that person's name is, but I've seen them in this and this. And some people like, I don't think they've ever been in anything before that I'm aware of, right?
Right.
If someone approaches you to be in this film, knowing that Angelina Jolie is going to be, kind of the headliner, what's your response? Is it like, I've always needed, MCU on my CV. I've always needed that to give me this action credibility. Are you like, you know what, I'm going to turn this down. It's always going to be, Angelina Jolie's always going to be, the headliner. I'm going to be minimized. There's 9 other people that I'm going to have to share screen time with. It's just going to be, super complicated to be involved with. I'm not going to have a whole lot of lines. The lines are going to be generic, one line kind of zingers and such. I'm never going to get a real Academy Award or Golden Globe or anything from it. How do you approach it if someone asks you to be in this film?
Oh man, I'd be all in all the time. Think about it this way. I'll tell you why. One, no matter what, you have to be, unless you're like one of those living actor legends, you'd be an idiot to turn down work at all. I'm just being pragmatic on that. 2, anyone who goes into a Marvel movie, 9 times out of 10, you're coming out of that movie with some level of recognition, good or bad. You're coming out of it with some level of recognition. And 3, Marvel's going to basically pay you to become fit, right? You basically get 9 months. No, think about it, right? And a wellness program that I don't need to pay for.
You're using this as a wellness program.
Right? You lose 30, 40 pounds. You put on 20 pounds of muscle. You look like a Greek god. right? And you get to be in a movie with Kit Harington from Game of Thrones, Salma Hayek. You get to be in the movie with Angelina Jolie. You get to be in a Marvel movie. So if you're like a C tier or a D tier actor, Disney and Marvel want you because you're cheap. You want them because this is your potential springboard to the big screen. Look, with the greatest of respect to what's his face, Simu Liu, right? The guy who played Shang-Chi, right? Before Shang-Chi, I knew him from that Canadian sitcom.
He is the star of that movie.
Fine. Okay, you know what? You're right.
Yeah. That's a no-brainer.
Right.
That's a no-brainer, right? If MCU comes
let's go all the way back to Thor. All right. Again, he was definitely the star, but let's look at Loki. Okay. Right? In Thor, not necessarily the star of the movie. Tom Hiddleston, very well known in England, great stage actor. On the global scale, who really knew Tom Hiddleston? For me, yes. Oh, no. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, no. We need a producer. Okay, even The Night Manager. I don't think that was very well known, at least certainly not in the States. Jean Le Carre is great author, great writer, but his TV series aren't exactly main. Oh yeah, it's the same guy who did.
Day Off.
I remember correctly, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Oh my God! Don't get me started on movie titles.
Is there not someone who's like the head of like titles, movie titles at whatever company put that out that said, "Hey, what kind of title is that? Tinker Tailor? What is it? It's Tinker Tailor
Soldier Spy." It's because those are Anyway, look, I don't want to get into it because
why not just call it Soldier Spy? They should just call it Soldier Spy. Much easier.
You know what's funny is the train went off the rails with John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. That title had a colon and a hyphen in it.
Oh,
they couldn't just call it John Wick Chapter 3 or John Wick Parabellum.
I love grammar.
What the hell?
Punctuation. Any movie title that's got punctuation and grammar.
A sequel name in there. I mean, what are you talking about? Just get on with it.
Feel bad for the graphic designer. They're like, just fit this on a poster. Like, come on. What happened to Star Wars? Just 2 words. It's so much easier. Speaking of 2 words, can we go back to my original one, which is Ghostbusters? 2 words, classic. From our childhood, classic movie. There was a Ghostbusters 2. I recall it being not bad. There was a Ghostbusters 3 then, right?
I don't remember there being a third. I thought it was just Ghostbusters, then Ghostbusters. So Ghostbusters was where you had Sigourney Weaver turn into that dog monster with Rick Moranis. I Am the Keymaster. And then you had Ghostbusters, right?
Yep. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
And then you had Ghostbuster 2, which was with the slime and the Vigo, the guy in the painting. And then I don't think there was a Ghostbusters 3. And if there was, I totally didn't see it. Then in 2016 or 17, they had the all-female version of Ghostbusters, the pseudo reboot / reimagining with
Thor.
That's right. He played the
receptionist.
Yeah, the receptionist. I can't remember her name, but he was. I thought he was really funny. I think that was the movie that made me realize that he actually had good comedic chops in it.
Yeah,
but that movie was better, less said about it.
Let's just say panned widely by critics.
Yeah, well, or maybe not even just critics. I think by people.
So now
anyone with a pulse probably didn't like it.
So this isn't a reboot. This is a continuation of the story, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. So this is supposed to be a sequel. It stars the main kid in it is Venkman. No, not Venkman. Egon. Egon's granddaughter.
Oh, okay.
They're not in New York anymore. They're in some podunk town in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by farms.
Because I recall it like being a barn or like an Iowa like.
That's right.
Town,
that's exactly right. They find the Ecto-1 in a barn somewhere, covered in a dusty sheet. And we're looking at that's all I know is that it's basically the story of Egon's granddaughter and her group of friends. Paul Rudd's in it, but I don't know what he does or who he plays. Sexiest man alive.
He's everywhere.
I'm willing to bet, even though I haven't seen any of it, I'm willing to bet some of the exactly. Some of the originals are going to come back. Either Dan Aykroyd or Bill Murray. Yeah. If not both, one definitely. And of the two of them, it's likely to be
cameos.
Bill Murray because I feel like that's all he does nowadays is like these small, timey roles in the middle of nowhere. Unless he's doing a movie for what's that quirky director? Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Unless he's doing a Wes Anderson movie, I don't see him doing anything else.
Yeah. Do you think, so we both love the original Ghostbusters. Do you think this can be good? I mean, we'll see it, of course, but do you think it's going to be compelling?
I'm scared, man. I'm really scared only because I'm still traumatized by the third Ghostbusters movie. But we'll see. It's got Reitman's son directing it. So there's a certain level of respect and homage to it, I'm sure.
So there's something that I think is very clever when you're doing something that's like, I mean, there's a time gap, right? I mean, just naturally in terms of when the last one took place and now when this one is. And I think there's something clever that they did, which is they shifted, the location, right? I think one of the problem with the sequel in 2016, right? Which actually I like all those characters. Like I think they cast it in a very interesting way. I don't have any problems with those cast members, but the fact that it was still at kind of the fire station with a pole, with the same thing, it felt like it was trying to capture the same like magic. But to be honest, it's hard because there was a lot of time that passed and it's hard to capture the original. So I like what they've done here, which is they've said, look, forget New York City. Let's go to a barn in Iowa. And, we still have kind of the same backstory, but let's just flip the narrative and the cast. I mean, I guess if we're going to attack this critically, I'm not really clear how they, took the act. What is it? It's Ecto 1, right? Was their hearse? Not sure how they transported that, put it in a barn under sheet. I imagine that they're going to say somehow that they took that big, nuclear reactor where they input like all the ghosts and they somehow brought that thing cross country and decided to bury it in Iowa. And there was no like digger's hotline or coding issues or anything doing that. Let's forget those practical points. But I like the fact that they've at least shifted the narrative a little bit. So you're not have the same expectation for, the old one with the old fire station and the pole and the same stuff it's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of looking at any sequel, right? Well, yes, of course, Ethan. So I think the best way to make a sequel, or maybe not the best, but a really good way of making a sequel is either a direct continuity thing, right? Or B, to look at the lore and not make it a rehashing of the same thing, but use the lore, right? I think that's the same problem I had with episode the Disney Star Wars, right? With episode 7 is initially great movie. You really liked it just because it hit all the right notes. It felt really good to watch it again. Yeah. But the moment you do any critical, we did see that together.
And we saw that together. We should point out, we saw that together. Yeah.
In a phenomenal cinema in Zimbabwe, by the way. And so the problem I had with that movie was that it hit all the same notes, but it didn't do anything different. It was just a modern version of episode 4. Same bad guys, same super weapon, there, and more or less same resolution, but just, fancier looking ships, fancier looking uniforms, fancier looking guns, fancier looking force powers. But anyway, look, Star Wars is another episode altogether. Yeah, maybe that's another 2 or 3 episodes. Yeah.
That's a whole, maybe more than one, more than one.
100%.
But Ghostbusters, we agree, we'll go see it. Our expectations are not super high, but definitely we'll go see it and keep an open mind. But I have to say, apart from the IP, right? Apart from the Ghostbusters name, I mean, there's really nothing super interesting about this movie, at least from the trailers that I saw, right?
Yeah, yeah. I haven't watched. I just saw the teaser, which was the same one you've referenced to, which was
Yeah,
the bar, an overlook of some farms, a
yeah,
barn, and
yeah,
then someone pulling off the sheets off of the actor. That's all I've seen. I haven't
yeah,
seen any of the other trailers, and I don't want to,
yeah.
just because the problem with trailers today, or most trailers today, is 90% of the movies released on the trailer, and like it just defeats the whole purpose of the trailer.
Yeah, I'm with you. For movies I do not want to see, I like watching the
Mhm.
trailer. And for movies I do want to see, I really
Yeah.
try to avoid the trailer. The same thing. And actually, I will say this about Ghostbusters. When I recall seeing it in a cinema, and I didn't really think it was a Ghostbusters movie until, kind of they flashed the Ghostbusters thing, or there was a song or something that made me realize it was a Ghostbusters movie. If they would have said
Yeah.
at the beginning Ghostbusters and launched into, the trailer, I would have probably paid more attention, but I was not really paying attention because it seemed like a very kind of boring kids stumbling upon some artifact. They rub it like it's Jumanji like, right?
Yeah, yeah. But that I thought was brilliant. For a teaser, it was brilliant because it was
Yeah,
like a sleeper, right? You don't
yeah,
expect it. It came out of
yeah,
nowhere, and people lost their minds, or at
yeah.
least I lost my mind. So no,
Oh,
just because I
that's
love
high praise.
Ghostbusters, right? And hilariously enough, even though
Yeah,
now as an older person, I recognize that Ghostbusters 1 was far superior to Ghostbusters 2. In not just in terms of acting, but definitely
yeah,
in terms of story, in terms of everything that happens. I saw Ghostbusters 2 before I saw Ghostbusters 1.
yeah.
And that, growing up, that was what was available
Oh,
on TV first. So that's what I saw first. When I think of Ghostbusters, I don't think of Slimer. I think of slime, or the ooze rather, and them coding, what was it? The Statue of Liberty at the end of it, and getting the Statue of Liberty to come in and save the day,
yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever stupid thing that was. And, only now, 30
yeah.
years later, do you recognize how dumb that is.
I mean, if we're looking at historically, actually, now that you lay it out like that, Ghostbusters kind of laid the footprint for the New York under siege from aliens kind of genre that now we see all the time in MCU, right?
All the time. It's
Right?
like 30, it's like
Spider-Man,
out of the 30
Spider-Man,
MCU movies, 20
yeah,
of them have been
Spider-Man,
about, yeah, New York
Transformers,
falling
all the
over.
Avengers, right? There's always some big portal coming out of the sky, beaming, all the aliens or armies, down into the middle of the city, causing
Yeah,
chaos.
some death
Yeah.
weapon is going.
So I have to say, now that we're looking back on it, I mean, it seems like Ghostbusters, as far as I can recall. I don't think King Kong counts.
No, exactly, because it wasn't the city that was in peril. It was just the
Yeah,
city was just a
it's just
backdrop for him to climb up the
yeah,
Empire State Building.
correct. But Ghostbusters is a one where I distinctly recall like the police do not cross signs and how those guys were kind of like mini celebrities. And everyone was like kind of clapping them on, and that was a different thing that I don't think we've seen in any movies prior to that time, right?
Well, here's the hot take I didn't expect today.
Oh,
Ghostbusters, the genesis of all disaster movies in New York. Oh my God.
Transformers is always Chicago.
You
Transformers is
might
always
be
Chicago.
right.
I'm not MCU.
Yeah, but conceptually exactly the same, just a different city, but conceptually exactly the same.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, it's always the West
think
Coast
that's a
that
hot
gets
take over there.
destroyed by natural disasters, and it's always the East Coast that gets destroyed by man-made or
yeah.
alien disasters.
I mean, the natural disasters I understand, right? I mean, it's always an earthquake or a big fire, right?
Earthquake, not just an earthquake or a big fire, weren't there like other movies based on like the world ending?
Possible, yeah.
What was that John Cusack movie? Wasn't he in like California where he ends up flying a Cessna like out of the Grand Canyon or something like that, which is collapsing? 2012 or something? I can't remember.
It's very similar to Greenland, but Greenland, they fly out of Canada.
That's right. All terrible, terrible movies. But we still watch them because we like movies.
So putting movies to aside, we are both watching the same
Yeah.
show on Apple TV Plus. We're both watching, what are we watching?
I'm watching Invasion, and I just started Shrink Next Door.
Yes, Invasion.
Yeah.
We're both watching Invasion. We're both watching
What do you
Invasion,
think about it? Because I have a hot take,
right?
or maybe not a hot take, a lukewarm take.
I've got a slow take. I mean, my feeling is that I have to say I have a little bit of fatigue over invasions. Yeah, especially now that we just talked about Eternals, which is a 10,000 year invasion in the making, which seems like the long game. Not sure who has the patience for that, but okay. But my sense for Invasion is that it's the most realistic alien invasion type movie that we've seen, apart from like maybe the old Steven Spielberg Contact.
War of the World. Yeah. Oh no, Contact.
Contact. What was?
Yeah, Contact.
What was the other one with where they played like the song, right? I want to say 2001: A Space.
Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, right? So I mean,
third kind or fourth kind, whatever. Yeah.
Of the X kind.
Yeah. That was great.
So I mean, I feel like, I mean, to the extent that there's an alien invasion, I feel like it's going to be a little bit slower and not just, War of the Worlds started like immediately. Some of the movies, like it's just like overnight, everyone is, even the one, did you hear Don't Make a Sound with Jim from The Office and his wife?
The one with the John Krasinski and Emily Blunt.
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place. No.
A Quiet Place. Yeah. I mean, again, this one just happens overnight, right? Small town New York, playing a baseball game, suddenly like aliens are here, and overnight everything changes.
What I like about Invasion is that the idea is that the aliens have been here all along, right? It's not, or at least some of them have been, or at least that's what was implied in that first episode with, spoiler alert, by the way, we're talking about these, we've seen these shows. If you haven't, skip forward. Otherwise, just suffer. Grin and bear it. Yeah. But at least that's what was implied with when Sam Neill dies at the end of the first episode, right? Like in the crop circle, like that in the middle of the cornfield, where he gets stabbed from behind, and you just see that like slithering tentacle claw thing go away. Yeah. I'm still not 100% sure about what goes on. And this is one of my problems with the show, is that I get that it's slow. I like slow burns. Don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of slow burns, but this might be too slow. 7 episodes in, you've seen like 3 tentacles, half of an alien somewhere, and that's it.
Are we on the? To be honest, I don't know if we're on the same episode. Let me check where I am, because I'm not sure we're on the. I might be an episode behind you. I'm in the last episode I was in. They're holed up in a house. Were you in this episode?
Who's holed up in the house? Oh, the Indian, the Middle Eastern family.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
I saw that. That's another problem I've got. That lady has to have more self-respect. She needs to kick that dude out. What the hell?
That's a domestic issue.
That's a domestic issue. Let's go. That's micro. Let's talk about the macro problem.
Yeah. Triage. In Triage, I skipped that episode, to be honest, because I felt that was too boring. Everyone kind of tiptoeing around the house and all these like corridors and closed doors and hallways and stuff. I didn't have the time for that. I turned that episode off, and that's where I ended.
Did you ever watch the Godzilla movies, of the new ones, not the Puff Daddy inspired one with Matthew Broderick in 2000 whatever? The latest series of the current series of Godzilla. Have you seen any of them?
Is this the one where Godzilla was fighting King Kong?
Yes, the one that started that movie. The first of that series.
I would say I've probably online caught glimpses of it.
Yeah.
But I have not sat and watched that whole thing end to end.
Seen the movie. Yeah, so it's the one with Bryan Cranston, if that helps.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was the first movie when it came out. What I liked about that movie was that however long it was, let's say it was 2 hours long, okay? You didn't see Godzilla for the first hour of the movie, or for the first hour and 15 minutes of the movie. You heard his footsteps, you felt his tremor, you saw glimmers of him, you saw a shadow of him. There was this one beautiful moment where like these group of paratroopers skydive out of an airplane with like flares on the way down, and like in the lightning.
I love that. Is that with like the green smoke? Is that with the green smoke?
Yeah, the green smoke or the red smoke. And you see like, and then you see a lightning flash, and in that flash you see the silhouette.
I love that scene. Right? That's an amazing scene. Yeah.
I loved it. And the reason I loved it was because Yes, it's a movie about Godzilla, but it was also a movie about the humans behind Godzilla. And like it was a story about the human perspective. Fine, whether you like the movie or not, that's irrelevant. The point was cinema, in terms of audience expectations, you really kept them hanging and like salivating for Godzilla. But the moment they show Godzilla, then they were like, all right, main course time. And it was all Godzilla all the time for the rest of the movie. And the filmmakers did not hold back. You see him stomping through the city. You see him swimming through the water. You see him burning monsters. You see him do everything. And all of a sudden, it's no longer a story about the humans of the world. It's a story about Godzilla, which is great. Right? Because it's just, there's finally good payoff for all that anticipation that they're building for the first hour and a half of the movie. Invasion, 6, 7, 8 episodes, 8 hours of TV series, no payoff yet, right? It's too slow. It's too, look, I'm sorry, I get it. There's 3 separate stories. One about the series of kids who are abandoned. One said about this Japanese space agency who are trying to unsolve the mystery. One about this South Asian / Middle Eastern / Arabic family and their plight, going through infidelity, going through, I'm a doctor but not a doctor, I have a child who's potentially special and touched by an alien or not. We don't know. Too many mysteries, not enough solution, right? And I think what's going to happen.
Hold on, I just want to remember that line because I like that. Too many mysteries, not enough solutions.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. It's what's going to happen is on like the 8th and final, or whatever that final episode is going to be. It's going to be 60 minutes of solutions to problems you've forgotten about because you're too busy trying to digest the first solution. By the time you digest the first solution, the third is already done. They've already planted the seeds for season 2, and then the season's over. And then for the next 10 months, you're wondering what the hell just happened.
Are you which of the side stories are you? So Sam Neill is out. Which of the side stories are you most like enthralled by? Do you like the
only the Japanese one? Only the Japanese space station agency. That's it. I couldn't care less about the kids. You had a bully who finally gets his comeuppance. As far as I'm concerned, the little kid's arc is over to the extent that, and I might have cared if they explained what that auditory or special thing is in some of those kids, right? Because from the family, the little boy has that same problem. Remember the twins, or not the twins, the girl and the boy, one of them got a nosebleed, the other didn't. And they're alluding to the fact that some people have some kind of, I don't know, genetic makeup, some kind of special power or something, right? And I'm not going to spoil what happened in the last episode, but clearly it's alluded to this kid in the schoolboy group or the school children group, the British group. They have that kid has some special powers or something. He keeps popping those pills for his supposedly ADHD or whatever it is. We don't know what's going on. The only ones who are actually moving the mystery angle forward is the Japanese space station, right? No one else is. The JSA is the only one which is saying, look, we found a signal. Let's explore the signal. Let's figure out what's going on. Oh, the military is involved. So clearly somebody knows more. I don't know. I just found the whole thing to be a bit of too slow a burn.
It's ambitious. I have the same issues with it. I mean, if I had to choose between one of those storylines, definitely I'd focus more on Jessa. But I mean, I like the overall idea that it was a slower, like you said, it was a slower invasion than we're usually, exposed to. And I thought that was a little bit refreshing. At the same time, I also say probably like worldwide, we have a little bit of fatigue in terms of like martial law and, the stay in your house and evacuation.
The dystopian future style.
I have to say, like, that was a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, not uncomfortable, but I have to say, like, I think we're exposed to enough of that worldwide, in our everyday lives. And I don't need more of that, to be honest. I mean, most people watch series, to kind of escape reality and to kind of focus on the same stuff and the same issues, I think is counterproductive.
I call it the Zack Snyder effect. I think all of this has
Mhm.
been a trend in the last 10 years because there's been this increasing movement towards making films and TVs more grounded in reality and more, like almost like black and white instead of vibrant, or like everything's a shade of gray rather than a vibrant color.
Let me tell you something that I like. I really like it. Have you been watching For All Mankind?
Yeah.
Also on Apple TV Plus. So all
No.
for all, do you know the premise?
No, but I will take a note of it.
The premise is the 1950s, 60s, 70s space race, right, between the US and Soviet Union, where, the US was, through the Apollo program, landed a man on the moon. This goes backwards and says, what would the world be like if Russia won the space race and it just escalated with each side trying to outdo each other and, let's say, semi-colonize the moon? The reason I like this is, apart from being well done, is that it's something that is, first of all, it's looking back, and it's not kind of like looking to the present and dealing with our current issues. So it looks backwards, but it doesn't like just regurgitate the past. It obviously, changes it up a little bit. So it's rooted in fact, but also I like the idea that it has all these kind of what if scenarios. And to me, that's very, very interesting. I think that for me is a good, let's say like a good recipe for a compelling series where it takes something that we know is realistic, right? Landing on the moon is now realistic, but it flips the script a little bit, or it flips the narrative a little bit, and it comes up with something new that's, keeping you on your toes. For me, that keeps my attention without, again, like drawing in kind of the day-to-day nonsense, that we're all dealing with. So I highly recommend that, especially if you're into, for the sci-fi buffs, you and I mean, it's got that element
Right,
of,
right.
space travel and rocket ships and, lunar landings and such. Of course, it also panders to the other, Apple TV Plus crowd, which is, they want some family dramas, relationships and issues like that. So I thought that's a very, very good balance between, what I want and what I don't want. But you're watching something else. You're watching The Shrink Next Door, right?
Oh yeah, I just started The Shrink Next Door. Will Ferrell and again Paul Rudd, who you're right is everywhere
man.
these days.
He is everywhere these days.
And yeah, he's actually having tea in the other room right now.
Why is he so popular? We all like him, right? He's like every man.
He's like the everyman. He doesn't seem to age.
Yeah.
He's quietly funny, self-deprecating, reasonably handsome. I don't know.
Is there an absence? Is there an absence of other Hollywood actors?
Come on, man. Have you seen Brad Pitt? He's still killing it. Clooney, he's been out of it since he got married, but he's still killing it. All these guys are like if you look at them, they're all old school Hollywood handsome. Paul Rudd, this new generation isn't. Right? Like they're modern handsome. They're handsome, but not like Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's like Paul Newman, Errol Flynn's era, like really leading man of the 40s and 50s era, golden age of Hollywood handsome. Like Brad Pitt in what was that Quentin Tarantino movie? The one about the Manson?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Exceptional movie.
My God.
Yeah.
For as old as Brad Pitt is, he is still strikingly handsome.
There's really a man crush going on here between you and Brad Pitt. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I have a man crush on a lot of Hollywood, and that's a problem. But yeah, anyway, so The Shrink Next Door, interesting. Paul Rudd plays, funnily enough, the shrink, some psychologist, and Will Ferrell plays this like semi-neurotic, like scared all the time, emotionally fragile, almost man-child who's running.
Sell me on it. Sell me on it. Sell the audience on it. Tell us why we should watch it, because I haven't seen it. I know the same premise. So it's easy to get on Apple TV Plus. Tell me why we should watch it.
It's a dark comedy. So it's a dark comedy in the sense that they're not trying to be a comedy, but there's some hilarious parts of it. And it's about I've only seen the first episode, And the whole premise of the first episode is you get introduced to these
Hmm.
characters. Will Ferrell owns a
Yeah.
clothing or carpets or a fabrics business, and he's taken it over from his father and his uncle, and he's always nervous. He's always scared. So like he hates confrontation. And in the episode, like you see him get confronted by his girlfriend or his ex-girlfriend, and he literally collapses on the floor when he gets confronted by an angry customer. And his sister always has to save the day. His younger sister, played by Catherine Hahn, who also I love. She was Agatha Harkness in WandaVision, the bad guy. She's played a lot of comedies. She was in Bad
I love Bad
Moms.
Moms.
She's
Should I be embarrassed that I've seen Bad Moms but not WandaVision?
No, because WandaVision I thought was horrendous. I really, as a fan of the MCU, I had the same problems I had with Invasion. I had it in spades with WandaVision. 7 episodes when I think it could have been done in 3.
I'm sure I have a justification. I'm sure I have a justification for seeing Bad Moms. I cannot think of it now, but I'm sure I had a justification at the time.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll come up with a reason.
We'll reverse engineer it. Let's reverse engineer that.
Yeah, you confuse it with what's another movie with
Bad Santa. Bad Santa.
Yeah, that's right. You thought it was a sequel to Bad Santa, and you really like Billy Bob Thornton, and you thought that's what you were going for. Turned out it wasn't, and you got stuck watching the whole thing because you didn't want to throw because you just opened up your bag of popcorn and you thought, well, I don't want this to go to waste. So you just sat there, ate the popcorn, watched the movie.
So what is a better raunchy Christmas movie? Bad Santa, or is it Office Christmas Party or Christmas Office Party?
Wasn't it just Christmas Party?
Office Christmas Party, right? With Jason Bateman.
I can't remember, but that was hilarious.
Oh, I thought there was Office in there
That
somewhere.
was very good. Yeah.
I thought that was amazing. God drives a Kia.
Because I keep confusing that movie with
Jennifer Aniston, right?
Because I think
Aniston.
A lot of the same people were involved.
Jason Bateman.
Exactly. So, and in terms of
those two work together,
not premise, but in terms of conceptual humor, it was very similar. Anyway, we keep getting derailed here. The Shrink Next Door. We're working on it. So Paul Rudd plays this psychologist. Will Ferrell gets convinced.
I didn't even get through the agenda.
See Paul Rudd. They go. Pseudo hijinks ensue. The show is set in the 80s, which is why maybe we will enjoy it. A little bit nostalgia for us. 80s fashion, 80s New York. So it's a little grimy. It's a little gritty. And while you don't see it in the first episode, there are definitely undertones of something sinister going on with Paul Rudd's character, which that's why I like, is because you can tell there's a darkness to Paul Rudd, and it's so subtle that you're not 100% sure if it's there, if you're overreacting, because you start relating to Will Ferrell's character, and then you're just like, oh, I'm in. So I
are those guys well cast?
Sorry?
Are they well cast?
I think so.
Do you think that's?
I think so. Because Paul Rudd, I haven't seen him in many serious roles, or let's say in non-comedic roles. This is probably one of the first, if not the first, at least for me. I'm sure he's done dramatic roles, maybe Clueless, but this is the one that I think where you just get to see a little bit of darkness, and it's on the same path as Robin Williams being dark in Photo Booth. Yeah. Just so exactly in the sense that there's a slight bit of comedy in there, but just a tinge of darkness. And that was a great movie.
Oh, that was disturbing.
Oh yeah. Back in the day, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Right. Like you'd see a lot of creepy pictures.
Certainly, if there were still photo booths right now, I would be working there. I feel like that is the place where you saw like a lot of questionable activities, right? And a lot of thumbs. A roll of film which had your family's moments in it, and people
potentially
were
incriminating photos on it, potentially sultry photos in it. Like There's no way you would go to a stranger today and ask him to do
Yeah.
that. And if you did, because you didn't have a choice, you would expect an NDA involved, right?
I feel like
You
there were
would
not so many
certainly
sultry photos. I feel like certainly there were some compromising photos. I'm sure there are a lot of party photos, but I don't think it was like I don't think there are like so many like
I don't mean like
dirty
sultry.
selfies.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
Not sultry. I don't mean sultry
Yeah.
like nude pics and
Yeah.
things like that, but like
Compromising.
I wouldn't
Embarrassing.
give a roll of film
Yeah.
of my wife in a bikini
Yeah.
or my children in a bathtub
Yeah.
or in a swimming pool
Yeah.
to a stranger.
Yeah.
Not today.
Yeah.
Only because we've seen and heard of the worst case scenarios, and all of a sudden that is no longer appropriate.
Yeah.
Like we've all heard these horror stories about these perverts and these pedos and all these crazy things going on. And you don't want to be a part of that. So you're just like, look, why open myself to that potential? I don't want this guy to know where I live. I don't want this guy to know where my family is. I'm out. Right? That's when you start setting up your own. But then on the flip side, anyone who's got a dark room in their own house, automatically you start thinking questionable things about them, right? There's no middle ground.
You got to think the worst. Yeah.
There's absolutely no middle ground, because why would you have a dark room in your house?
I don't know, but it's a good place to start a romance. If you bring your girlfriend down to your dark room,
Yeah.
you automatically know that like it's going to end in a successful way for you, right? Nothing more romantic than, right? The red light,
Yeah.
the silhouette.
Why do you have a red light and all these chemicals in tubs lying around?
But again, that was what should be clear warning signs was always portrayed as a very artistic, sensual experience, right?
Yeah, of course. Oh, wow. Look at this guy. He's definitely a photographer and artist. Here, let me take off all my clothes so I can pose naked for this guy.
Next to noxious chemicals.
Yeah.
Very safe environment, right? Like
it's the equivalent of the doctor
like
who's like,
acid.
no, x-rays are totally safe. And then he goes
Totally
behind
safe.
a 3-foot thick wall.
Just let me step out. Let me just step out of this room. X-ray.
Anyway, back to diverting again. Back to The Shrink Next Door. Based on episode 1, I think it's worthy of at least a watch a couple episodes. The first episode wasn't a stinker. I'd say it's worth watching. That's my episode 1 review or a short take of The Shrink Next Door.
What about Yellowstone? Are you watching Yellowstone? Because a new season of Yellowstone is out. Have you ever gotten into Yellowstone?
I never saw Yellowstone.
Whoa. I don't want to say that's malpractice, but
is it about doctors?
You should definitely consider it's about Yellowstone.
The national park?
About like big. So it's about Kevin Costner, and he stars as I don't know if it's Montana or Wyoming,
a ranger,
but he has like
park wild animal,
extraordinarily huge family ranch.
Oh, okay.
And it deals with all the the drama and hijinks of managing this huge ranch. Yeah. So it's a huge departure, right? And I think it's even like spawned like a mini cultural, interest now in the great outdoors and, do it yourself and having this wide open space and big sky and all these other, concepts, that obviously you don't get in like a more urban environment, right? There's a lot of trucks and a lot of flashlights and more cowboyish and ropes and lassoing and things like this. Very well done. Great Wild West, and probably a very good role for
the Great Wild West, right?
For Kevin himself. Yeah.
Kevin Costner. Yeah. He's a gruff man. Like he's a man's man. Yeah.
I mean, he's consistently kind of taken on these roles, right? So he does a good job at that. Yeah. I have to say. The rest of the cast for me is totally unknown, but they're very, very well cast. And it just started its fourth season, but quite good. And I would say it's good. I would say it's good also background watching. There's not a lot of like complicated plot twists.
I don't know, but you had me
what you see is what you get. So I mean, it's a very good one to kind of have on in the background and keep it. And then the other one I would suggest is,
that sounds intriguing.
What's this one about mathematics?
So I've seen the the poster and the icons for it, the logos for it, but I haven't watched the show yet. I didn't know it was about math.
The phone. Foundation.
Nathan Price or what? The guy, Jared Harris or Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I haven't seen yet, and it's only been highly recommended to me. I need to watch.
My brother highly recommended it, and he's got you and I have very similar taste when it comes to films and television. My brother's much more picky, where he doesn't like the fluffy stuff. He wants something that's a little bit more meaty. But he highly recommended this. I started it. There's a lot of good about it, but I would not say like I've absolutely been hooked to get further. I think I probably watched like 3. I might be on the 4th episode first season. And the star is, or one of the stars is the guy from Mad Men, who plays the British financial officer, who's also the same guy who
Jared
plays
Harris or Harry.
Yeah, Jared Harris.
Yeah.
It's Jared Harris. And he also is on what else is he in? Chernobyl. He's also in Chernobyl,
which I haven't seen yet, and it's only been highly recommended to me. I need to watch.
I mean, but Chernobyl is, unlike For All Mankind, which flips history, Chernobyl is definitely obviously based on historical events, but it's an interpretation of how they believe things happened, So based on a lot of data points and facts, but it's kind of like an interpretation of how they think a lot of things happened and seeing it through the eyes of different people. So but Jared Harris is in that. He's like the glue, for all these shows. It kind of brings them together, but never really has a starring role. But here he's got a more prominent role.
I like him. I like him a lot. Where I decided I really liked him wasn't in Mad Men. And in retrospect, it should have been because he played his character to a T. I respect his chops on that. But where I grew to like him the most was in Sherlock Holmes, the Robert Downey Jr.
Never
one,
saw it. Well, I did see it with Robert Downey Jr., but I don't remember him in it.
Yeah, he plays a Moriarty, which is
the movie.
Yeah. He plays Moriarty in the sequel.
Do not remember.
Or maybe the first. I can't remember, whichever one. But yeah.
So as a commitment going forward, I will commit. So I think this week we both have to see Eternals, and then we can reconvene and give our impressions on that. I will commit to watching the Therapist Next Door or the Patient Next Door. Which one is it?
The Shrink Next Door.
The Shrink Next Door. I will commit to seeing the Shrink Next Door. And you start on something else, and then let's reconvene and let's see.
So I've taken a note. I need to watch Foundation, Chernobyl, Yellowstone, and For All Mankind.
Yeah.
Foundation is in first season?
Yes.
So I'm probably going to start with Foundation because it's a shorter watch.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, based on your recommendations, I saw Mosquito Coast. I think I preferred...
Mosquito Coast is exceptional, yeah?
Yeah, but I think I prefer the movie to the TV
But do you believe that they're a continuation? My sense is that...
It's not a continuation. I don't think of it as a continuation at all. I think of it as a reimagining, a more modernization of it. I think the second season will determine that really. They tried to add a fancy layer, right?
The way they leave it at the end of the first season is, I understand this is kind of where the movie would pick up, where they're actually, now somewhere in South America, and they actually kind of put down their roots.
Yeah, that's right. I would say similar. I think there's a little bit of they added that layer, right? Like
it's almost like a prequel.
Used to be an
it's
NSA
almost like a prequel,
agent.
Right?
Yeah. So what I like is that they're trying to make it a more modern telling of that 80s Harrison Ford movie.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't like about it is that it's relatively, for all the ways that they try to make these movies and TV shows realistic and plausible, the one stumbling block they always have is that there's one person who has all the information who refuses to share that information, even though it's obvious that all the nonsense behavior from everyone around them would stop if that information was shared, right? So Justin Theroux has some information that the kids want to know, at least the daughter, right? He refuses to share that, and the mother refuses to
Yeah.
share that, and they toy with it, like they're like, oh, we'll tell you it after bed or after dinner, and then something happens at dinner. I'm sorry, but like you couldn't just spend 5 minutes to explain what the background is. Like there would be like 90% of the problems would go in for someone who's as smart as
I
he
agree with you.
claims to be in the show. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that's where all these shows,
Yeah.
that's the biggest
Yeah.
plot hole / stumbling
Yeah.
block for me in all these shows
Yep.
is that it's the withholding of
Yeah.
key information from characters that causes those characters to behave in ways that are inherently stupid. So, you know, you've already been caught once by the FBI or the NSA or whoever
True.
those two were that were chasing
Agree.
them because you were searching online.
Mhm.
Your dad told you to stop searching online. You ask your dad for the information. Your dad refuses to give it to you. So
Yeah.
you go back online and then you get found out again. The agents get killed and somehow that's your dad's fault. Like it's dumb. Like both sides become stupid, you know? And I don't have a problem with selfish behavior because people who are that smart sometimes maybe don't recognize that they're being selfish. They're just inherently, that's the way they are. They're arrogant or whatever. But what he isn't is stupid, right? And if you're not stupid, then you can understand you can see the next step.
Yeah.
And the next step is if your daughter has done all this shit in the past, you can take that by disclosing something which is basically a non-issue for you to disclose. Because it's going to be something not dramatically profound. I don't expect it to be something immensely profound. Like, oh, they're not actually my kids. We stole them or kidnapped them from secret facilities.
Well, he tries to
All
make
that is
himself
nonsense.
kind of
It's gonna
appear
be
to be
something
like a
stupid
modern
or
Edward Snowden,
something
right?
less
The old,
impactful.
I used to work for the
And
NSA.
it's
and
not
now
going to
I'm
be able to justify all the dumb actions
falling
that
out
have
with
happened.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
have
went off the
these
grid.
incredible computer skills, but I choose
I'm
not to
a pseudo
go buy
whistleblower without
computers
actually
for
blowing
fear
any
of,
whistles.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't.
But you know, his
I don't
grandfather
get
was
it.
the
I don't get
writer
it. And
of the
for
original
some,
Mosquito
like,
Coast.
anyway, look, that's a different thing altogether.
Yeah. So I mean, he has a vested interest in this. So I mean, it seems like there is going to be a second season. It will be interesting to see where it goes, and if it's going to be kind of like a remake of the original, film, or if it's going to go in a totally different direction. I mean, I liked it.
I expect that they're going to go in a different direction. I don't think they're going to do. I don't think it translates today as much. The idea of going into the jungle and dealing with missionaries and native Brazil. No, where were they? Costa Rica?
Yeah.
I can't remember. Native Latin American natives, like sitting in the jungle wherever they are. I don't think that's going to. I don't think that translates to the modern look that they're going for in 2020.
So if you just look at the traditional kind of, not the traditional, like the new model, that means that they're going to manufacture drama by breaking back into America.
100%.
It's right. If you're saying they're not going to go back to the, they're not going to follow, the book and stay loyal to that, where they, just set up this little, village, in the middle of like the Amazon or something. That means whether it's her parents or one of his long lost friends, or they've got someone else, they're going to have to get back into the US, evade detection, rescue this person, and so forth, right?
I imagine one of the kids is going to get. One of the things I see possible is that hitman kidnaps one of the kids to get to the parents for.
Oh, is that hitman still alive?
Yeah, because remember he escapes the jail.
Oh yeah.
At the end, and he couldn't get them. I imagine that's going to be like the B plot of. Actually, that might get promoted to the A plot of the second series, of where they're now on the run to avoid the cartel.
Why aren't we writers?
I think we could write a hilariously bad, so bad that it's good movie. I want to write a movie called Cliché, the movie.
I don't know if that's the endorsement I was looking for. We could write a hilariously bad movie.
No, but so bad that it's good.
I like the second part. Let's just make it good.
Let's just make a good movie. All right, let's skip all the malarkey. Let's just write a good movie. But we need to have a plot. We need to have an idea what the premise is.
We'll crowdsource it.
Yeah,
We'll
I
crowdsource
mean
a
that's
plot.
see, this is where things start to go off the rail. The moment we go to the crowd's going to be between you and me. A lot of the crowd, idiots. Not you, listeners. You're great.
Let's not say between you and
But
me.
the rest of you guys.
Let's not say between you and me. We've got a lot of people listening. We can't say between you and me.
Between you, me, and the
Between us.
thousands of people
Between
listening.
us.
The rest of you guys are idiots. The listeners are great, but everyone else, idiots.
The non-listeners, by definition. Yeah.
Especially the
non-listeners. Okay, I'm down for this. Yeah, let's not crowdsource it. Crowdsourcing is going to, you know what crowdsourcing would lead to? We're going to hit this topic. Are you ready?
Go.
Red notice.
I'm out. How is that?
Next time we hit red notice? Or you want to,
yeah, I'm going to write this down right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm leaving red notice. You know what we need to do? We need to start giving these movies ratings.
Yeah.
I'm giving it 9 thumbs down, to borrow a phrase from Siskel and Ebert. Yeah, we'll talk about Red Notice. I'm going to make a note of that right now. Red Notice on episode.
I think Red Notice has to be our. We'll hit Eternals. What our feeling was. We'll hit Red Notice. I'll watch Shrink Next Door.
Foundation.
You'll watch something. Yeah, and then we'll. But I think we have a lot to say about Red Notice. So much so that
100%.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
Going back to the crowdsourcing of the movie, by the way, just a quick idea. I know what we can do once we write and make the movie. Sell it as an NFT, make millions, and peace out.
I like all those ideas, but I have a great deal of skepticism about the viability of the NFT market. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to buy a digital thing, but I'm not willing to buy an expensive digital thing.
No, I'm happy to buy a digital thing if it has utility for me, right? Like real world utility. And that, like, I will gladly pay anything for a piece of software that I need. I will not, however, buy into one trillionth of an ownership of a picture, of a digital picture, mind you, of a monkey flipping the bird. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. It's, I don't even want to get into it. It's a money laundering scam, as far as I'm concerned. I have no problem with cryptocurrencies at all. Fundamentally, I have some issues, but in terms of the concept of cryptocurrencies, I'm fine with it. But the concept of NFTs, I have a problem.
I'm fine with the concept of NFTs. I just think that a lot of them are worthless or have modest value. And that, anyone who is spending, a significant amount of money, much less a berserk amount of money, I don't believe that's a legitimate transaction.
No, I think those transactions are very much one of two types. One, some guy scamming the public into a hot current trend, right? Or two, some guy laundering money, laundering tokens that he couldn't justify ownership of before, but could thereafter.
But hold on. I mean, if someone wants to buy something that I think is dramatically overpriced, as long as they're not being as long as it's not being sold fraudulently to them, right? I mean, they're just bad consumers, right? I don't have a problem with that. I mean, like if someone wants to buy a digital painting, like you said, a monkey giving the middle finger, which I think has zero value. If someone out there thinks that that is amazing and it has a huge value, it's no different than dogs playing poker. They're totally entitled to do that. I think it's, I think it's totally a waste of money. But if they want to do that and it's not a fraudulent transaction, that's okay. But I just think that NFTs are not being bought for consumption. They're not being bought because people really like what they're buying. Like dogs playing poker is a famous painting. People like looking at it.
But that's my point. My point is that I think a lot of these things aren't genuine art. I think you and I could sit together on Windows Paint, on Microsoft Paint, and create a painting of something, a digital painting of something, and sell it as an NFT. And as long as we market the story right, Oh, we're the first ones in the MENA region to sell an NFT. You'd own the first digital art created by Middle Eastern artists. I think we could sell it for whatever it is. I'm talking out of my butt here, maybe $10,000, $15,000, whatever that number is, right?
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
but that's my point.
How
That's
do I
why
get Microsoft? How do I get
Yeah.
Microsoft Paint? I think that's the only thing I'm lacking is how to
It comes
download.
free with your computer. You don't even need to download
Look.
anything. So I think
Mac.
that it's well, you just need to buy a computer.
So I need to buy a
400
computer.
bucks, $300. It can't be that expensive
I better make a lot of money on this NFT. Otherwise, I've just bought a computer with Microsoft
for
Paint
400 bucks.
no good reason. For no good reason.
But yeah, but that's my point, is that it's not, first of all, it's not a unique it's not a unique asset, right? It's not unique because there's no fundamental difference between my copy of that painting of the monkey flipping the bird and your copy of that. There's no fundamental difference. You may own the original file that was created on, sure, but there's the whole point of digital anything is that I can copy and paste that anywhere, and it is a copy, a perfect copy, not just a copy, but a perfect copy.
But does that really matter to you? Does that really matter to you? I mean, when you go to like a store, okay, like dogs playing poker. I mean, you can buy like monoliths. Is
Sure,
that even the word?
I can buy a print. I could certainly buy a print for $10 or $15 instead of the $10 or $15 million the original. So for me, it doesn't. For a true art collector, of course, right? For a museum, it matters. What museum is going to have, what digital museum would justify an NFT display exhibit, right? If you can't verify that they're all original.
Is there a digital museum in this world?
I have no idea, but there is a pirated copy of every NFT sold ever so far, which I think is hilarious.
Is that true?
It came out yesterday or 2 days ago.
Where can you download? Can I download it?
Anyone can go download it. It's totally free. It's called the NFT Bay. It's a copy of the Pirate Bay, and it's like 20 terabytes of every NFT sold so far.
Ever?
How
did they get them?
I don't know how this guy did it, but he's some hacktivist or I don't know, art guy, something like that. He was trying to make a point, which I think he's rightly made, which is to say that, listen, you spent $20 million, or I think it was in the millions. There was the first real major NFT artwork was sold for something in the millions. And I right-clicked, copied, and saved a perfect copy of that for free. And now everyone's got it. So there's nothing stopping me from telling people who visit me and showing them this computer picture and telling them, hey, I've got the original copy of it. Right? So look, maybe I don't have a full understanding of NFTs, but I'd like to think I have a better than average understanding of the system. And my feeling is that as a finance guy by trade, my feeling is that NFTs are basically just a great way of laundering money. I have $1 million of Bitcoin that I can't declare.
How do you launder money with an NFT though?
Okay. I create an NFT. I buy that. It's a round trip transaction because you're buying it from yourself in two separate wallets. You declare the purchase. So you declare, so you own that NFT thing for $1 million, right? You sell it and you say, hey, I sold this NFT. That's why I have this $1 million worth of Bitcoin.
So today, Film and Stuff is dealing with film, and the stuff is compliance, anti-money laundering, NFT technology loopholes.
That's right. That's my goal. I'm here to I'm the head of compliance for this podcast. I want to make sure that we talk about stuff when we get to film and stuff.
All right. I like how you said, I'm finance by trade, but film critic by night. Not as good as too many mysteries, not enough solutions, but still.
That's the way it is.
Okay. So we've got our work cut out. We've got our work cut out for us for episode 0002.
I did like that.
Notice the 3 zeros to keep you happy. 000, the new bond, 0002. Uh, well,
By the way, I saw, we can talk about that like next episode too. I did see No Time to Die.
after Red Notice, we'll talk about it after Red Notice.
Yep. There was plenty of time to die.
There was a lot of time to die.
There was plenty of time to die.
Yeah. I think they didn't mean time to die. They meant no desire to die.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Oh, right. This is No Time to Die. Right. I see that. I went literal. That's the problem. I went literal.
No inclination.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like in Predator. Yeah. Remember Jesse Ventura? He goes, "Dude, you're bleeding." He goes, "I ain't got time to bleed." which is fundamentally not true. It's not about whether or not you have time. You are in fact bleeding.
And I like that he's implying that bleeding is an active ability versus a passive thing that happens to you, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you could end all operating issues in a hospital, right? Like, no, I'm choosing not to bleed during this operation.
Yeah.
You do what you need to do. I'm not going to bleed.
There's no time to bleed.
I don't have time. You take care of whatever you need to do.
That was his famous one-liner. I ain't got time to bleed. I think that may have been his only, I'm sure it wasn't his only line in the movie, but.
That's probably why he's or became the governor, right?
Yeah.
Or how he became the governor.
Yeah. No time to bleed. No time to die.
Although,
yeah.
Speaking of that movie,
actually,
2 governors out of one movie. Probably politically the most famous movie.
And he was
right, or maybe Ronald Reagan though did become president, and so did Donald Trump. So Home Alone theoretically is the greatest political movie ever made.
Well, I mean, Ronald Reagan was in a lot of movies, right?
No, but Donald Trump was in Home Alone 2. That's true, which is why his achievements are diminished because on average he was on so many movies.
Yeah.
So the number of presidents per movie drops for him on average.
And which one really launched his career? It's impossible to say. I can't name. Probably Win One for the Gipper. Actually, I think that's just the name of a speech. I don't think that's the name of the movie.
Oh yeah, probably. I think that's just I feel like but who knows? The problem is Reagan was well before my time. His reputation supersedes him.
I agree.
Like, in terms of movies.
Okay, so Predator, we think was clearly the most inspirational political springboard for governors, at least.
Potentially.
Or who else was in that movie?
That Carl Weathers, 2024.
Van Damme. Remember Van Damme was the original Predator. We talked about this before. Jean-Claude Van Damme, the Brussels from Muscles, was the original. Was the original Predator, and then he fired himself, or quit, or was something of a little bit of both. Yeah, removed forcibly. It's like, look, I'm the prettiest guy on this set. Why are you putting me in the
removed forcibly?
Why are you putting me in the mask? You know,
that's crazy. That's insane.
I think he should have fired his agent. Hey, I've got a great role from you. No one will see your face or your body. You won't have any lines. Well, what am I doing? Well, you're just going to wear a costume, but we're not even going to see you.
And you won't get to do your signature split.
You won't do the splits.
You'll get to hang around a tree. You'll get the menace growling, growl menacingly, and that's it.
He said,
maybe if we're lucky, we'll get some jazz hands in there.
Yeah, he had jazz hands. But do you remember they like filmed it like in California, and like all the actors are like, my God, it was like 100 degrees. And he was like, 100 degrees for you? It was like 120 degrees for me. I'm wearing the mascot hat, right? Maybe we need like a retroactive look at that movie and how groundbreaking that movie was at the time as well, right?
Predator, and not Predator 2, which if I remember correctly had Danny Glover and was terrible.
And then there's Predator versus Alien. And then the Predator just got like the star treatment. Yeah, increasingly dumb. Yeah. I think Aliens franchise too, actually. All these great franchises have gone down the hill, and they should stop remaking them. Yeah.
I'm sorry, like Prometheus. Anyway, we could continue this forever at this point.
Okay, we are going to continue, but it will be episode 000.
Very good. I've been Pete.
And Ethan. Thanks very much for listening to Films and Stuff. Peace out.
Bye, guys.